Hello, and welcome to today's After Church Tea Time. My name is Deanna, and today I am joined by Carmen and Kanisha. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Today, we will be discussing the sermon by Adam and Brienne, Seeing Yourself as God's Divine Child. So, ladies, how are you feeling, and what are some of your insights and takeaways from today's sermon?
I'm doing really well. I really love about these sermons is there seem to always be in alignment with what the collective's working through or what I'm personally working through. And so them really just going over how we're all equal was just a really great reminder, especially like on this journey when we are working through big upsets around family and parents and stuff like that. It's a really important reminder that we are all brothers and sisters in Christ, and that we can really surrender those relationships to God and to just focus on our own inner healing. And as we choose to focus on our own inner healing, we really like free those around us by freeing ourselves first. So for me, it was just a deep reassurance that I really do have the power with God to be able to create the life that I desire instead of trying to create a life without God, which always seems very troublesome and like a struggle when I try to do it without God. So yeah, it was just a really beautiful reminder that you could absolutely have and do anything with God.
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from that was as well, in addition to that, that I am divine, that we are all divine, and that this affirmation is definitely a very, very powerful one. And I actually started when I just was rewatching the last course in not course, it was the workshop in Sedona. I'm having this light box here where you can put your own letters in, and I was just spelling in it like I am divine, and every time I wake up I'm actually watching and seeing this, and this is really very beautiful. I definitely feel transforming there when I wake up, and this is the first thing I see in the morning. And also I loved what they just shared. And I also always remember when Shaleia shared she was riding her bike to work and reaffirming I am divine all the time. When they just shared this in the sermon again, that when you have an affirmation and you pair it with something physical, that it has somewhat more impact on your brain. And I've noticed that as well. So I'm just starting basically and really grounding into my morning routines where I'm doing yoga in the morning for at least 10 minutes. And while I'm doing this, I'm listening to positive affirmations. And this really helps me while breathing and doing some exercises to really ingrain that in my body and everywhere in my being. And sometimes during the day, I just remember one of these affirmations like, oh, yeah, true. I am worthy. And this was really helpful. I just was thinking maybe I'm going to record my own recording where I'm telling myself for 10 minutes at least, I am divine, with some awesome meditation music in the background, and just listen to that then all the time, wherever I go. So yeah, really, really powerful and reaffirming sermon that we are divine. And it's true. I think it's a collective thing we are working on, especially. Another takeaway I had is when they shared about slavery, that we are facing slavery within ourselves. I was been faced with this big times the last 2 weeks, like tremendously in my work experience. And just yesterday, I worked through another very, very, very big and challenging experience I had within myself with so much resistance. This was really one of a kind challenge, I would say. And I'm not sure if I'm quite through this, but it comes in waves, right? I'm just grounding into feeling good again and feeling divine, and actually knowing that God is there with me and is supporting me and has never left me here. Just that it was me choosing to separate myself from God, and also forgiving myself for choosing at some point in my life separation from him was a big part to accept. and see that it's in my hand really to heal here and to step into my new power and just reclaim whatever God has for me in store here. So I love that they talked about the slavery thing, because I always thought for myself, like, oh my God, I'm working through slavery consciousness right now. Like, really, when it comes to work, I think this is like, this is or was a big thing for me. So yeah, was cool to know that we are all working through this and we are not alone in it.
Yeah, I love that. You both shared some really, really great takeaways, the same as mine. And I really love how, like you said, Carmen, it was emphasized about like pairing the body and the affirmations. I never thought of it like that. But when I kind of feel into it, it feels like a really, really great way to like integrate the affirmations, because you're bringing in your body, your mind, and your spirit. You're kind of like bringing that connection when you're doing that. And so, yeah, I'm going to try that, like when I'm working out, I'm going to start saying some affirmations. And you're awake and you're alive. And yeah, that feels really good. Another thing I thought about also was, just like the two of you were saying, just kind of recognizing that we are divine, but also like acknowledging, and I think Soraya mentioned this, like it can be hard to make that transition because of what we were taught, like reminding ourselves that we are divine regardless of what we believed, during our upbringing. And, that transition can feel tough when you're in it, right? Like having to reprogram your mind, having to retrain your thoughts, because we're so used to like being in a state of fear, being in a state of like worry and being disconnected to God. And when you're kind of taking on this new mindset or taking on the truth of who you are, you have to be like very intentional about claiming that. And that's kind of what I've been learning in my journey, is that I didn't realize how easy it was to like veer off the path. Like one day you're straight and narrow, you're watching all the teachings, all the lessons, all the classes, and then you just slowly start to shift. And it's on you to kind of like say, no, I am divine. This is the path that I'm on. This is the truth. And, kind of continue to always remind yourself of that. So I like how that was, emphasized as well. So yeah.
Yeah, as you were talking about that, I was thinking that a lot of people will get stuck in that victim mentality. That's that slavery, that struggle that we were talking about as well. And to have such a strong affirmation and a reminder that you are divine, that is really going to help you move out of that victim mentality if that's what you choose. And I was thinking back about the affirmations, like the workouts. It's like you're telling your brain and you're telling your body what you believe is true. So like if you are doing, say, something a little bit more strenuous than yoga, like an intense workout, and you're trying to complete it, if you're saying in your mind, like, I can't do this, you most likely aren't going to. But in the struggle, if you can tell yourself, like, I'm strong, I can do this, I'm almost there, then it's when you start to see like you're pushing past the potential of what your brain and your body can prove to you if you choose to believe in that. And it's the same with God. It's like he will prove to you every time if you choose to believe in him, and he will show you that he is always there and that he's always going to take care of you. And Adam and Brienne were talking about like worry and like stressing out that you're not going to get the money or you're not going to get the house. And I'm pretty sure it's said like 365 times within the Bible or something, like, do not worry, something along those lines of having to trust in God and believe in him. And I find that when I really do surrender the worry and I go right into faith and just belief that what it is that I desire is already done, it's already taken care of, it unfolds so much faster than if I just sat there and worried about it and tried to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, like it really takes surrender, right? To let go of like that mental back and forth of trying to control it, trying to figure it out. Like you really just have to be willing to let go and let God, as they say, right? And then it just naturally like comes to you, the answer. Yeah, it's easy when you choose to partner with God. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And it's also, it all starts, I guess, from the desire in our heart. And as they also said in the sermon again, that desire is of God. So God is the one who put it in your place in the first place, in your heart in the first place. And so when you recognize this desire, it's already for you. It's already been taken care of, and you just have to say yes to it, and then rely on your will. I mean, yeah, it's your choice to say yes to it. It's your choice to say yes to this path and trust in God's path for you. And just take the steps and see that it's already yours. But when you reaffirm yourself, when you reaffirm this affirmation, I am divine, and know that you're God's divine child, then I think there is nothing more you need to believe in, really, only in God. And I also like that they said in the sermon again that it's not your own strength. When you rely on your own strength to take care of things in your life, you are choosing fear, because it's not your strength. And I think it was actually in the Romance Attraction e-course, I guess, but maybe they say it even in both courses, Dreams Coming True and Romance Attraction, that where Shaleia shares that she relies on God's strength and remembers always that it's God's strength that she's claiming and that she's asking for, and also during challenges asking God for strength. I always do this. Please give me strength to overcome this. And this makes it so much easier, because then okay, God is walking besides me. And he was also giving me this picture yesterday while I was moving through this deep shit within myself, that he actually, when parents have their children on their back and you see the world from above, he gave me this picture in my heart where I was like really on his back, and he got me perfectly safe, and all is fine, and he walks with me through the challenge. I'm not alone in that. And this made it so much more easier for me to really see, oh my God, yeah, I am being taken care of right now. And yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that reminds me, like, first off, that's a really beautiful image, to kind of see yourself on God's back and see God taking care of you in that way. It reminds me of a session I had with my coaches where I was moving through something similar like this. And I remember saying to them, I'm like, I want to be in the driver's seat. Like of my life. I want to be like in control kind of thing. And they were like, well, when you're partnering with God, you there's no reason for you to be in the driver's seat. It's safe for you to be in the passenger seat, right? God is your creator. God knows what's best for you. God knows your heart. God knows your desires. So it's safe to let God take care of you, right? And that was a hard thing for me because of the way I grew up. And I'm still kind of moving through this, like taking on more masculine or versus feminine kind of energy, like wanting to be strong, wanting to be the man and the woman because my father figure was absent. and not really, allowing anyone to take care of me. And it took a lot of like really just surrender to just relax and know that God knows me. God knows what I need. God loves me. And I can let God take care of me. And I'm worthy of that. And I don't have to be in control. I don't have to be in the driver's seat. I can just, kind of like what you were saying, Carmen, hop on God's back, and let him take the lead there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for a lot of people in that is just actually just trusting and completely surrendering that to God, and trusting that, or allowing him again to like prove that he is going to provide for you. And sometimes I think what a lot of people have resistance on is letting go of resistance on how that comes to you, how God desires to love you, who he desires to love you through. Like sometimes he'll go through someone else to provide what it is that you need, and you can receive it or you can't, or you don't. I think Jeff talked about the story of like this person being on the roof and it's flooding and he's waiting for God to save him. And so like God brings him a boat and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God. And so the guy leaves, and a bigger boat comes and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God. And so then that help leaves, and then a helicopter comes and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God. And the helicopter leaves, and then he sees God and he's like, why didn't you get me? And he's like, I sent you 3 different ways to get help. And so it's really having to be very open-minded and just being open to receiving any way that God has desired to provide for you, and knowing that you're worthy of receiving that love and that support.
I love that. I think really that in all cases, it will always come in a different way than you expect, always, especially when you have an expectation. And this actually reminded me of something that I used to tell myself: where God guides, he provides. This really, only this sentence itself helps me a lot when I recognize, for example, letting go of a person, letting go of something that doesn't serve me anymore. I feel guided to let go of it because it feels good, when it would feel bad for me to keep it in my reality. And so I know, okay, oh my God, what is going to take its place here, right? What will come here? What will help me here? And then God whispers in my ear, basically like, where I'm guiding you, I will provide for you. And this is really a helpful reminder to always know, whatever you're letting go of, whatever you're struggling with, there is something so much better for you in store, and it will always, always, always look different than you expect. So, but much better than you would expect or think for yourself what you need, because God knows us the best, because he created us in his image. And he knows what is best for us. And I also, there was something else in the sermon. They said, oh, I love that they shared again that we are kind of God's twin flame. And this really stood out for me in my heart a lot, because it's so romantic and so beautiful. He is expressing himself through us in the world, and we have all of us are so unique and express ourselves so uniquely and share ourselves in a very unique and different way. And no one has the relationship that you have with God. That's so divine. It's so unique. And also that he created you really with a twin flame, where he can love you the best, the most amplified. I don't know how to say this. I think you know what I mean. In the best and perfect way. And I think this is really so beautiful, just to relax into it, like, oh, I already have a twin flame. And even though maybe in my case I don't know my twin flame in the physical yet, knowing that it's God and it's only him I'm relying on. And this is really beautiful.
Absolutely. And the more that you embrace that, the more you'll really get to experience God through your twin flame, like choosing God as your ultimate lover, and really understanding that that is the priority of God being first in your life and embracing that, you'll see that absolutely reflected in every way, including with your twin flame. It's a really beautiful experience. And it's like you never have to go looking for it outside of yourself or trying to get it from yourself. You just go within and you get it from God and you give to God. And then the way that he gives to you, if you do it without expectations or attachments to it, it is always more magical than you could have tried to create in your own mind.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing, like, I've also been working through is like letting go of expectations, right? Because I'm in the process of, manifesting my twin flame union. And I've just been having to let go of what this person will look like, what this person will be like, and trusting, like you both said, that the reality of it will be way beyond, my wildest dreams, like, because God knows my heart, God knows my desires. And like, I love how they mentioned this in the sermon, that, our desires are of God, and we never have to compromise our desires. Like, whatever we want and desire, God planted it in us. So there's never any need to compromise. And then what I'm also learning is like there's a balance in kind of trusting and letting go when it comes to what that actually looks like, right? And how it'll actually manifest, and sort of getting clear on what am I actually desiring here, like, for example, wanting a really handsome twin flame or something like that, or like, just thinking off the top of my head, like, what is the core desire, right? To see God's beauty, to kind of relish in the beauty of God, and that can look different from the picture I have in my mind, So
yeah, that's the importance of like the love list is something that they bring up a lot too, is like, as you're getting clear on your desires and what you truly want, a love list is important, because what you pointed out was like you had a preference, and with a love list that helps clarify your core values and the qualities that you desire in someone. And the more that you get to know yourself on this journey, the more you'll start to go deeper and like go below the surface instead of having surface level things, which I totally understand exactly what you're saying. I think I had one time on my love list, like, I desire a man who's 6 foot so I can wear my high heels and feel confident. And then I like checked myself and I was like, that's not actually what I desire. I desire a masculine man who's very secure in his masculinity is actually what I desire at the core. And that's exactly what I received, was someone who was very confident in their masculinity, but is not 6 foot, and I'm still allowed to wear my heels, and it's fantastic. But it's like God knows what you need at the core, but you really do have to let go of what you think love is, or what you think your union's supposed to look like, how you think anything is really supposed to look like. You really do have to empty your cup and allow God to fill it. And one of my affirmations is always just like, God, lead me in the life that you have created for me, not in the life I'm trying to create for myself. Because I always find that when I go in the direction of what God is leading, then I have more opportunities and more ways to expand than if I'm trying to do it by myself.
What you just shared reminds me of a passage from the book Laws of the Spirit World, where they share about, I think it's in the chapter of prayer, how important prayer is. And so they were basically saying in this book, I try to paraphrase it now. Most people ask God, right? We all know when we ask, it is given, right? But most people on earth ask God, please give me this car, please give me this person, please give me, I don't know, the money, whatever. And they will find that these prayers won't be answered. And it's probably, first of all, because they are not feeling through their feelings here and seeing what is preventing them from receiving these things, because it's not on the outside, right? It starts from the inner to receive it. But what is most important, what they shared, is that it's not in their highest interest to receive it right now. So they won't receive it. And the best thing you can pray for is actually, and I try to implement that as well, to ask God to give you what is best for you. And then to ask him to give you the strength to move through it as well. Because when we desire something, or we think we desire something, there will be challenges coming up probably, or blocks that keep us preventing from having this. So when God is not giving you what you are asking for right now, you might have asked for the wrong thing. So you can ask God as well, show me, what should I ask you for to give me, or just give me what is in my best and in my highest interest to receive here. And I really love that. And also they were also sharing, when you pray for someone else is going through something really challenging, you can of course send them blessings and prayers and strength to move through it, but also ask God to give them what is best for them, because he knows us, he knows everyone the best, he knows what is best. And sending this to someone, wishing this for someone, is really the best you can do, and especially also for yourself. So it starts with yourself. And I really noticed that I'm also then letting go of, I think I want this job, but in truth, God has something else in mind here. And this brings me on the fast track to actually transcend the whole situation, to be able to receive what really God has in store for me here. And it has a lot to do with releasing control, what you already shared. And I really noticed a big change here in not thinking, I desire this, I desire that, but asking God, show me, what do you want for me? What should I ask you for? Do it. And I surrender and see whatever comes up. And I know I'm not alone in this. So it's perfect.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes me think of like this one instance, and I'll try to explain this like shortly or precisely. Like, so I have this bad habit of scratching my inner ear with like a toothpick. And I don't know how I picked up that habit, but I'm accepting it and we're moving through it. And so I would always like have these times where I'm like, oh my gosh, my inner ear is like so itchy. I wish I had a toothpick, and I can like never find a toothpick. And so I know this sounds terrible, but so I was
sounds like it hurts.
well, like when you scratch it, I don't know. If anyone has like this itchy ear and they do that, you probably know what I'm talking about, but it's terrible for you. But so that's my point. So I went to the store and I saw like this big pack of toothpicks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the holy grail. I'm always gonna have a toothpick available to scratch my ear. But then I'm like, I felt into it. I'm like, this is a really bad choice that I would make, right? Yes, it's like an abundance of toothpicks, and this is what I've been wanting, but I can see myself going crazy and like really damaging my ear because, first of all, I probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place. And I would go overboard. Right. So it's kind of like you were saying, Carmen, we may want certain things and like have a desire for it, but God knows what's best for us. So like, imagine if I did get that huge thing of toothpicks, I probably would have damaged my ear by now. And it kind of makes me think about like when we desire like abundance and we think that we want it in the form of like a lot of money. But if we're not in a space where we can be like good stewards of that money, and we're not like budgeting and things like that, we could blow it, like people who hit the lottery, right? Like they lose it within a couple months. And so like yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, like we may think that we want that abundance in the form of money, but like you were saying, God knows what's best for us. So we really have to surrender to God's will in that space.
Yeah, and it's the same as calling in your twin flame. Like, we are advised not to do that unless we really are already undergoing the inner spiritual work. We're already having a relationship with God. And I think for a lot of us, we're like, no, we want it now, and we know better. And of course, you have a lot of people on the journey who are like, oh, I don't need help. I don't need a twin flame ascension coach. I was one of those people. I'm now a twin flame ascension coach because I was able to recognize the true abundance that comes from that support. And I really do advise, like, those who are desiring their ultimate lover, like, you have to undergo the spiritual work in order to really be able to be in their space. When I met my twin flame in high school, we hated each other. We could not stand each other. And when I look back at it, it was because I had a lot of self-loathing towards myself. And even though at that time I was calling in my ultimate lover, I had no idea what I was doing or what I was calling in, or the expansiveness of that and the true power of having your twin flame in your space. But it wasn't until I was in a much more healed and unconditional love space that I was like, wow, I didn't receive that at the time, because I probably would have ruined it, or not even ruined it. I would have just created more contrast and chaos that we would have had to heal from, instead of coming together when I was in a space of already mastering this inner work and understanding the process of truly what your twin flame is here for, which is to help you ascend and to redirect you towards God. And once you really actually have your true twin flame in your life and they are redirecting you towards God, it's like, oh, finally, someone who like knows, like, the answer is go to God. The answer is always go to God and give yourself the love that you need there. And they're just there to support you and hold space and to really love you unconditionally in that space.
Yeah. This is starting to feel complete for me. How about you, ladies? Nice. I will check on our Facebook. Awesome. So it looks like that wraps up our discussion for today. Thank you both for joining today's after church tea time. For those who joined us live, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching from our Facebook page, don't forget to hop over to our YouTube page, Church of Union, and subscribe. That is where you will find all of our previous discussions and a lot of other juicy content. So thank you again, and see you next time.